With another daily snowball video. On today's video, we're going to just be catching up with how the portfolio's been doing. Again, if you haven't seen any of the other videos that I've posted on this challenge, you can check out the playlist. This is the third video in the series. It's been a lot of fun. I actually made a video last week, but didn't get around to uploading it. I was attending the Blue Jays games in the World Series. It was taking a lot of my time away. It was a great series. We did not end up with the W, but one of the most fun experiences that I've ever been a part of, and to be able to attend the games in person, that was a huge achievement, life achievement. Hopefully they get back to the World Series next year and they can put it away. But enough of the sports talk. Let's get into it right now. This is the RSP Daily Snowball. I'm going to move this over here. Daily Snowball. These are the rules. If you haven't seen one of these videos before, by the way, I'm not by any means a financial advisor. I'm making this video from my car. I'm waiting for my kid to get out of a program. But that's what we're doing. We're making these videos to keep the updates, to keep me accountable, to keep the train going. I want to see how these high income, high yield ETFs perform while reinvesting the dividends at the earliest ex-dividend date. So we're going to go through the rules and then we're going to show you the results. First thing, buy a weekly paying ETF for each day of the week. So I have 5 ETFs in this portfolio. Each ETF pays on a different day of the week. So 5 ETFs, 5 different pay dates. So you're getting paid every single day. Invest the distributions into the closest upcoming ex-dividend date ETF. So whatever is going to pay next, that's the one that I'm going to invest in. I cannot, actually not whatever's going to pay next, whatever's going to record for payment. The ex-dividend date is the date that these ETFs record who holds them. So you have to own it before that date. And then you will be paid at the next distribution, which is, in our case, the next day usually. So if it's going to be paying on a Thursday, the ex-dividend date is going to be the Wednesday, meaning that if I get paid a distribution on a Tuesday, I need to buy that ETF that will be paying on the Thursday. So it's about a day, 2 days out from when the payment is, but that's the soonest possible distribution that I can get, and that's the whole point of this process. Reevaluate the holding size on a monthly basis. This is a newer change to the rules here. I was going to try and keep it even at 20% per position, but we're not doing that anymore, just because some distributions are larger and I don't want to be tinkering with it where I have such a huge holding in one ETF just to try and keep the distributions higher or whatnot. So we're just going to see how it plays out. We can reevaluate after every month or whatever and see, like, okay, do we want to put a little bit more into certain buckets, certain ETFs, or do we just keep going on the day-by-day basis and see what happens? And that's, I think, we're going to do for now. Track the results. And number 5 should be there. Like and subscribe the video. Subscribe and like the video. Wow. Subscribe to the channel and like the video, because this is what's keeping me going right now, right? We're doing this in the car, like I said. A lot of fun. But let's show you guys the spreadsheets. If you are new here, like I said, you should go back and watch video number 1 on this playlist. But we'll get into it. I also have another series, by the way, if you haven't seen it. It is called Living Out of My Brokerage Account. I'm not doing that quite yet, but I'm trying to get there, and I'm showing you guys step by step the process on how I want to get there. I've so far gone through the ideology of it, and then I also went through basically my projections. The next video that I do on that will be me showing you guys my current holdings, and then we'll do updates like we're doing here for that series. So if you want to go check that out, that's some other videos on the channel. Appreciate all the new subscribers, by the way. I've been getting a bunch of subscribers just randomly, even when I wasn't posting for that week there. So appreciate all you guys, and hopefully we do you right and you guys enjoy the video. So initial budget, $1,000, as you can see in the thumbnail. Current value, $969.67. Today was a huge down day in the markets. So considering, if you've watched any of my other videos, this is actually not bad, because we've been lower than this, and today was a down day. So we've made up a lot of the ground, obviously due to the distributions, but also I think we had a little bit of appreciation in there. And then today we were right again. This to spend, basically whenever I have a rounding error, I do use Wealth Simple for my this project here. It's also, I'm using the RRSP account, which means I don't get that withholding tax of 15% on US funds. I do have all US funds in this little project here. So whenever it does a rounding, it's either going to be a plus or a negative. Right now we're 14 cents over what we should be technically, but like, I'm not going to be making it too serious. I have no impact on the rounding. Like, I say I buy $1 of a stock using the fractional share method. Sometimes it gives me $1.14. Sometimes it gives me 85 cents. It's hard to do, especially with such low denomination. So we're going to keep going with it until we get a little bit larger things, and hopefully the rounding error becomes less and less. So that is that. We're going to go down here now, and I'll show you guys all the stocks. So these are the 5 ETFs that we have in the portfolio. If you're new here, WPAY, ULTY, PLTY, MAGY, and NVDW. What you see here is the date I'll be purchasing on. So if it's a Monday, I'm buying WPAY. If it's a Tuesday, I'm buying ULTY. If it's a Wednesday, I'm buying PLTY. If it's a Thursday, I'm buying MAGY. And if it's a Friday, I'm buying NVDW. This little note here is because ULTY changed their payout date a week after we started this. What's the chances of that? Anyways, they changed their payout date to Thursdays, and I had to replace YETH, which was there, and then I brought in PLTY into the mix. So that's what we did there. You can see here after all of my reinvesting of what we're doing here. So all of the dripped distributions, not really dripped because I did it myself, but anyway, these are the shares. I update those 2 columns, the Canadian price, current, and then basically I'm using like a USD to CAD conversion, and then my total current weight, and then that's how I'm getting my net PL based off of this number here, that's 968.75. And then again, this is not exactly this, because when we first started, we had a little bit of an offset. I didn't invest exactly $1,000. I had, like, because of the rounding, it was off by 15 cents or something like that. So that's what that discrepancy is. But pretty much from $1,000, we're only down 30 bucks, and it's been 5 weeks almost. So that's not too bad, considering these ETFs have a bad rap a lot of the time when it comes to covered call stuff. So week 1, you can see we made $8.40. Obviously, we didn't get all the distributions. We started on a Monday, so the first one we could get paid would have been a Wednesday. So we only got 3 distributions. The next week, week 2, was actually our best week, which made me kind of concerned. Said, why am I getting $12.94? Then the following week, in week 3, we only got $12.13. I was worried about the erosion of the yield beating out my accumulation and my snowballing. But the following week we had a little bit of an increase to $12.30, and this week so far both distributions have been higher than the week before. Again, these distributions are largely based on volatility in the market. That's how cover call premiums work. So when there's more volatility, usually you get a little bit higher distributions, hoping over time with the increase in size of the position, as we add more book to each position. You can see at the top here in the thread here, as I'm adding each time that we get a distribution, the decimals are basically my roundings or whatever that I've had to do, like -1 cent, -1 cent, and then I accumulate it over here. But yeah, so it looks like this week we're on track, hopefully, to beat out the week before, which beat out the week before. So hopefully we're starting to get that little snowball to bigger snowball eventually. We've already returned 4.93% with our distributions. So that doesn't really matter at this point, though, because we're down 3% after having reinvested everything. But if we didn't do that and we were accumulating this into a separate pocket, it would be a slower growth, obviously, because we're reinvesting it. But we're still going to have the total return of the $1,000. We haven't put in any extra money. So that's basically what that is saying there. So if you guys look at it over here, I'm hoping that this week shows that this strategy is going to work, and then as these dividends continue to increase and we continue to recontribute, we do start to get the snowball effect. Have you guys started doing something like this? Do you know anybody else doing the daily snowball? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. What do you think of the series? Is it too repetitive? Should I do less frequent uploads? Right now I was thinking about doing weekly, but I didn't do one last week. Maybe we'll do bi-weekly, or maybe we'll do one a month, just to get a little bit more data in there, a little bit more things to talk about. The other series is going to be a lot more intense, a lot more invasive. Will be giving me a lot more to talk about. I also wanted to go through my entire RRSP portfolio with you guys, because that's another animal. Like, that's a majority of my net worth. So I also rebalanced that recently. So there's been a lot going on. I want to share my journey on YouTube here. And anybody watching, commenting, liking the videos, it really goes a long way, helps me stay motivated. But at the same time, making the videos is also helping me stay motivated with my investing journey. So again, it's a win-win either way, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. I love you.